Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa, a conservative-leaning podcast, but I do take facts from both sides. Today is January 29th, 2026, and this is episode 20. It's going to be kind of unscripted today. I'm going to continue on with the ICE situation and why we are in the situation we are in. And really, what are the causes for what is going on today? The hate from the Democrats is unbelievable. The lies from the Democrats are unbelievable. Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner, which I've reported on before, it's a crackpot. Soros-backed, said he's going to hunt down all ICE agents that come to Philadelphia and called them Nazis and hunt them like they did Nazis in World War II. So, what Krasner is saying is that he wants to kill ICE agents. What did we do to the Nazis? These people, these Democrats, are out of control, but it shows the sheer panic that they're in. And they know all this crazy rhetoric of the leftist, of the Democrats, is going to come back to them at the midterms. They are going to lose the midterms. And they're going to lose the midterms because moderates would not step up to the plate. Moderates will not step up to the plate and tell these people, knock it off. Or, hey, that's them, that's not us. But there is no direction in the DNC today. None. No direction. Schumer is a lost sheep out there, basically just talking to the clouds. Jeffries is hiding. He knows his days are numbered as in the House of Representatives. The sheer madness of District Attorney Larry Krasner. I think I might have called him the Attorney General of, but he's the District Attorney of Philadelphia. Calling ICE agents a Nazi program. But he never called ICE agents Nazis in 2024 when Joe Biden's administration arrested 147,000 illegals. They weren't Nazis then. They're only Nazis because Trump is doing it. And there's the lie that the media is perpetuating on people. And when I say media, well, of course, it's left-leaning, CNN, MS Now, MSNBC, if that even exists, MSN, BuzzFeed. They all lie. And it's not even a distortion of the truth anymore. They're outright lies. Take, for instance, all the crying ABC, a 5-year-old child left left alone. When ICE agents, arrested this little boy's father, and the truth comes out that yes, ICE agents pulled this man over because he had been deported and then re-entered the United States illegally, and he was being arrested. But what Murrah forgets, and conveniently forgets to leave in the article, is the father jumped from the car, leaving his 5-year-old son in an unsupervised vehicle, and ran off. Where an ICE agent then stayed with the child in the car. The other agents detained the father and arrested him. They took the little boy to a fast food thing, calmed him down, brought him home, where the people refused to open the front door and let this child back in the house. So the ICE agents were forced then to hand him over to child services. The father then said, I want my son with me. And they took the son to the detention center, the family center, where they were reunited. But ABC didn't call it that way. They lied. They purposely lied. And it wasn't that these facts weren't known. They knew what the facts were, and they lied. ABC should have their station licenses on their owned and operated, which is called O&Os, suspended from the FCC. Larry Krasner should be removed from office for citing insurrection. And you can absolutely challenge the federal government. And you, as states, can actually tell the federal government, we're not going to use our police force to enforce federal law. You can do that. But you can't stop the federal government from coming into the state and enforcing federal law. If you interfere with that, bad things will happen to you. You have Mayor Frey again challenge the federal government. We refuse to follow federal law. No, you have to follow federal law. You don't have to use your police to enforce it. The feds will do that, but you can't interfere and you can't stop. And these people, again, they don't even know their own laws. They don't care about the Constitution. That's how bad things have gotten for these people. A judge, John, I think it's Turnham, district judge in Minnesota, made a ruling that the federal government, ICE, or immigration, cannot detain refugees who are awaiting permanent residency status. So these are people that the government does know of. They came in through a refugee program. They have a status. And now are waiting for their green card, but have not received their green card yet. And this judge had told ICE and immigration that you can't detain any of those people. You're forbidden from doing that. Now, I'm going to say that he can't do that because the government, until you get your green cards, and if there is any status change that has not been reported in Form what? I-485, where you have a status change. And that status change is pretty formal. So if you got arrested, if you had a DUI, if you had a domestic, anything, and you did not report that within the window of time that you were allotted to report that, the IRS can pull your request for permanent residency status and then start proceedings to take all the other statuses away from you. You do have to go to a judge. You do have to have representation, which they have to pay for. And depending on the circumstances, they can be detained. So this judge is way out of line. Secondly, when you stop someone, you don't know what their status is because there is no card that you have that says status on it because the Democrats never wanted that. This was a means for them to use the Fourth Amendment protection rights that we all get, even them illegals to a certain level, using it as a cloaking device. You can't do that. Can't do that. And now the rulings are going a little bit more towards the government, federal government, to say, no, we can stop them and we can ask them questions. It should be pretty simple to be able to run a person's name, date of birth, where they entered from and stuff, and come up to see, yeah, okay, they're in the system, they're working on it, and I don't see anything flagged out here, you know, oh, he might have got a speeding ticket or something like that, or, you know, but there's nothing serious. There's been no criminal activity. All right, off you go. And you might have a program in there that shows a little check mark. So if they get pulled over again and they go, boom, boom, yeah, this guy's good. Have a good day. Bye. But the way the Democrats crafted their scam of getting these 30 million people in this country was using the Fourth Amendment as a cloaking device to stop the government from ever checking on who these people are. And they just would meld in, and more would come in and meld in, and we don't have borders. We have no immigration status. We have no immigration authority. So this judge, district judge, really stepped over his boundary. I'm sure it's going to be right up in there into the shadow dockets, like a lot of these things are going to go, and it's not going to be messy. This is pretty clear. This is pretty clear. The same idea of other governors going to Tim Walz and going, yeah, you want to fight the president and the federal government on their right to send in federal agents. And, you know, with, we want a set number that you could set in there. Yeah, we don't want that, because see, if you lose that, then it can be 1 million people coming into a state to do whatever the federal government needs to do. And we don't want that. Now, on the other hand, conversely, the Trump administration might not want it to go to court, because you might have a Supreme Court that says, listen, it's a population of, 12 million people there, and you've sent in agents, and otherwise where you only send in 100 agents, and now you got 1,000 agents there. Yeah, that's a little heavy-handed. And then all of a sudden you start having limits. And maybe the federal government doesn't want that either. So you try to work a thing out behind it. We'll pull some of these people out as long as you provide protection for the people that we have there. The minute you fail to provide protection, we're coming in like gangbusters here. So it is a two-way street. But I think that if push came to shove, the federal government would win their case to say there is no limit in that. And there is no grounds to set a limit. So, yeah, they're crying because they violated, they're not fulfilling the obligation, not even an obligation, they're not enforcing federal law, so we have to enforce federal law, which is the 10th Amendment. And I'm thinking a lot of governors and a lot of people are going to them and go, do not stir this pot, because it can go bad. And maybe you want to talk to Trump, maybe you want to ease it down, maybe you want to guarantee that you're going to provide protection, the best you can. But if you cannot, then it's up to the federal government to provide that protection, and then they can send in whoever they want. And Mayor Frey over there, and Walsh are idiots, completely incompetent. Ellison, inefficient, allowed fraud to go on for years and met with fraudsters. These people have no idea. I'm waiting. I'm hoping in February and March the political ads start coming out for the Republicans, showing all this nonsense and going, this is the mantra of the Democrats. Now, that might be going on in Minneapolis, but it will play well in Texas. It will play well in Georgia. It will play well in West Virginia. That they're doing it because that is the Democrats' national agenda. So while person X might not be involved with that, he's guilty by association. And that's what should happen. They should paint these people all with the same brush, just like they painted all Republicans with the same brush. That's the way this works. I was trying to find out, there was an incident last year where a man on a subway system in Chicago, mass transit system in Chicago, was nearly beaten to death by a Jesus Ramirez. And they put this Ramirez on an ankle bracelet and house arrest and everything else. And he walked free the other day. They said he served enough time and they cut him loose. Now, I don't know I tried looking it up, and I could not find it anywhere using any of the search engines on what the immigration status is on a Jesus Ramirez in Illinois, in his town, whatever. But I'm going to assume, since it was not pushed, that he is a citizen or has a status. This is the craziness that's going on in these cities, where killers and people who tried to kill people just get out. And these are all Soros-backed district attorneys, lots of judges, lots of Democrats. Why would they let this guy out after only a year, where he kicked, beat, and stomped a person that he didn't met? There was no prior connection to him. They just had some words, and this guy tried to kill him. And that's what your daughter or your wife, yourself, your grandchildren have to sit next to, or possibly have to engage with. How do you feel about that, folks? You think that's a good idea? You think that is American justice? Bob in New York, I hope to hear from you. I think even liberals, minuscule IQs, can figure it out. Though I doubt it. And I think about it, yeah, what am I talking about? They can't. They can't. A racist rant by an actor, no less. Can you imagine that? Giancarlo Esposito. Now, he, if you remember him, he played the Chicken Man on Breaking Bad. And he played the part great. Great actor. But he said that it's only old white guys that are causing all the trouble in the world. And if they were to take 50 million people and attack Washington or Tehran or anywhere, he did not just say Washington. Yeah, they'd kill a lot of people, but they would take the power. See, these type of people that think this way, Democrats, progressives, don't understand that in America we have a republic. We vote people in. We have a revolution. We have a civil war every election. We don't need to tear down walls. We don't need to kill people. You could have your protests. You could have your January 6th protest when no one had a weapon, and yet they shot a woman climbing in through a window, the police. And they said some obese Capitol policeman died of a heart attack 6 months later. And they said that was because of January 6th. No, that was for the box of donuts this guy ate for the last 25 years. Come on, stop it. Stop it. The nonsense. The lies of the left that just continue and continue and continue. And the echo chamber of the left to their little minions who just keep repeating it, thinking that if they say it enough times, it becomes the truth. And then when you say, no, that's not the truth, here it is, it's right here in front of you, and they go, nope, not going to believe it. That doesn't matter. So, it is imperative that every Republican get 2 moderate Democrats to vote Republican. Now, Democrats listening out there, liberals or moderate Democrats, I always say this to you: never, ever not vote. Never, ever. Always vote. But vote your conscience. Vote what you would want to see happen for your children, for your wives, for your daughters, in what's going on today. And if you can vote for someone that allows a killer or someone who tried to just kill a stranger back out on the street in 1 year, well, then you vote for that person. And you hope that that person never runs into someone you love or know. Now, you can do that, but you have to really sit back and go, yeah, that's very selfish of me because, okay, just because I don't know that person, I can't empathize that person's loss because I voted for a district attorney who has come out and said, I don't believe in this, and people should, have forgiveness, and I'm all for forgiveness. I'm also for the consequences. You can't have it both ways, folks. America is in the problem we're in. Donald Trump got elected because of the Democrats. That they had messed things up so bad and just disregarded common sense. Boys can play girls' sports because they think they're a girl. There is no gender. Men can become pregnant. Just common sense things that they have lost total footing on. And now you have people that are openly hostile to the Constitution, openly hostile to your values, who are now out there saying, we're going to stop you. No, we have laws. No, we're going to take those laws away from you. Because they only serve white people, or they only serve yellow people, or they only serve brown people. Instead of saying, well, aren't the laws supposed to be for all people? Not just gay people, not just bi people, not for Q people, whoever, whatever the new word is, And I'm forced to have to accept their fantasy that they're a woman or that they're a man when they're really not. I'm not forced to live into your fantasy world. You want to run around your house and you're a guy and you want to be in a princess outfit, I support your right to do that. If you want to wear that princess outfit outside, all right, not harming me, not harming anyone. But when you go to the bathroom, you're going to go to the men's room. Because you ain't a princess. So, how about that? And if you think a man can play a woman's sport and be on equal grounds with a woman, you're out of your mind. Then you refuse to follow the science. Absolutely, there are women that can physically do what a man does. But that's not the majority. And that's not even the minority. That is way down lower than that. Women are women, men are men. These are the simple facts. And these are the things that the Democrats want you to abandon that. No, we shouldn't think about gender. Yeah, no, you have to think about gender. It's who we are. This is the common sense that is thrown off to the side. If I'm a doctor and you come in and you go, I'm a woman, and the doctor goes, well, you're not, so I don't have to do a pap test on you, or even if you've had a physical change, you don't have ovaries, I don't have to do a pap test on you. I don't have to do other things because you're on all these estrogen drugs and whatever. The ridiculousness. The idea that a 7-year-old can decide what gender they're going to be. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And this is all stuff that I want pointed out during the election. That this is the Democratic agenda. And it must be answered. And when I say answered in the voting booth. Democrats will burn buildings down, will riot, will hurt the police, will hurt bystanders. They don't care. As long as their cause goes forward, they don't care who they hurt. They don't care what businesses they put out of business. They don't care what they burn or steal or loot. They don't care about that. They're agenda driven. And the agenda is against the 90% of us. And the 90% of us should stand up and go, no more, enough, we're done with you. We're not going to hurt you. We're not going to throw you out in the street. We're just going to make you irrelevant. There you go. I have a business. I shouldn't be forced to take people in I don't want in my business. It's that simple. And if anyone is so good that they could start a business to compete with my business, well, then let them. That's called the free market. So, and I'm not talking, saying, well, I don't want black people or I don't want, a woman, but there are instances where I might not want a woman doing this job because they just don't have the physical attributes to do it. I wouldn't take someone because of their color. That's would be just foolish. You take the best person suited for the job. And if they're gay and they're the best person that can do the job, fantastic. But I also have the right to say the guy with the spear through his nose and train studs, rails through his eyebrows, and only have one patch of hair on his head because that's what he has chosen, he might be the best person for my job, but I still could go, no. Because I don't want you representing me. I get that right. And if my competition wants to hire you, fantastic. But Democrats don't want that. That's not the Democratic agenda. You want to talk about fascism? Bob in New York. Nazis? Bob in New York. You better look at yourself. And all the things that you say people should be forced to do. No one should be forced to do any of it. You're the Nazi. You're the fascist. And I'm not catering to fascists or Nazis. I'm catering to people that are liberal and free and can choose for themselves and not choose for you. But you don't like that. You want to be led around like a dog or sheep. And that's the truth, Bob in New York. Because you fear you can't do it yourself, and if you can't do it yourself, well, then no one should do it. That's what it comes down to. All right. 39 minutes of pure logic. Bob in New York. Again, this will go up. I am recording it this time. This is a wonderful thing, so I'll be able to get it up. It is 12:27 now. I'm hoping to have this up by like 2 o'clock and out the door. Tomorrow, I'll finish up my series on ICE and how we got to where we are in America and why we must change. 2024 election was monumental. We must continue on that path. We must not be derailed from it or sidetracked. We must get out and vote Republican. And we must remove many, many Democrats from the Senate and from the House of Representatives. Now, there's some good ones, no doubt about it. And there's some stinky Republicans, no doubt about that. But I'd rather have the stinky Republicans than the deranged Democrats. See, that's my choice. And it should be your choice, too. All right, with that, please give to a charity. charity of your choice. If you're not comfortable with giving to a charity, please think of donating to a food bank with food or monetary assistance. Money helps food banks immediately direct to a need. Say a prayer. Prayer does work regardless of what any Democrat will tell you. As a side note, and I will put it up over here on my edited piece that goes out. If you're in the Myrtle Beach area Sunday, February 1st, between the hours of 12 noon and 4 p.m., Socrates Station Restaurant off of Socrates Boulevard. I think they're 4504 Socrates Boulevard is holding a benefit lunch, spaghetti and meatballs, for, I don't know, $8. And all that money is going towards the Special Olympics. They've done this before. That's been fantastic. If you're free and you like spaghetti and meatballs, Socrates Station, 4504 Socrates Boulevard in Socrates, South Carolina, which, if anyone is local, is on the 707 heading towards Conway. No, not heading towards Conway. It's actually 707 makes this kind of loop. But if you Google it on Google Maps or iPhone Maps, Socrates Station. And that's Sunday, February 1st, from 12 noon to 4 p.m. There's going to be raffles and giveaways and stuff. And it's all to help. Every penny goes to the Special Olympics. So if you can come, I will be there. What a deal just for that. All right, everyone. Be safe as I fade to black.